What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about the web swinging in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. So we went on an adventure with these previews in terms of, I guess, where we even started of some people not experiencing certain things and then other people having experienced it. And the toughest part of the entire preview event was the fact that the main things that people were talking about with the improvements of the web swinging from momentum and the loop-de-loops and things we'll talk about in this video, they weren't even captured, right? A lot of the footage that we've seen, you look at one person to the next or one news outlet to the next, it's the same footage, right? It's the same footage. And a lot of these loop-de-loops or, going to the Empire State Building and swinging around in like a circle and letting go that some creators did, others flat out didn't, which is, I'm not saying like that's a negative. It's actually quite impressive that some people found these things and some people didn't. And I think, honestly, the web swinging sounds really, really good in this game. So that's what I kind of want to talk about in this video, the improvements, and also a lot of the stuff that has stayed the same. I'll be honest, I've said this before. I think the web swinging in Marvel Spider-Man 2018 is rather good. I think, honestly, it's the overall best web swinging that we've had in a Spider-Man game. Now, caveat on that, right? I am on the side of people that say, well, there should be improvements. I'm with that. Also, you look back at the past games and you say, well, is anybody really going to say Spider-Man 2? And that's one that people will go to, right? Spider-Man 2 with some of the web swinging mechanics that game had. I'm on the side of let's take the best of some of these games, these past games, even old, 20 plus years old, maybe a little less than 20, right? Let's take these games and what they did the best at with web swinging, and let's incorporate it in these games, because these games, I think, overall are the most fun. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody that would say overall the web swinging in Spider-Man 2004, right, Spider-Man 2, that is better overall than Spider-Man 2018. I think there's some elements that you could use to improve Spider-Man 2018, but I still think what Insomniac has done has already been quite good. So I wasn't looking for the most revolutionary improvements, but I was looking for some of them. So, it's been hinted or talked about that there were going to be some of these things, and obviously when people got their hands on it, I think overall they were quite happy with what they played. I think there is a sense of kind of similarity or it being the same, but the idea of momentum, the idea of using the web wings and to chain that. A lot of these things are kind of chain-based. You can see the Sunset Overdrive influence, and I'm going to get there with like the water mechanic that was talked about as well. You can see it, that they're just kind of building, not just on 2018, but even taking what some of their older games that they did so well and kind of adding that as well. So the idea of like a loop-de-loop is freaking awesome. And also the idea that you can really only do it in specific areas, right? You have to kind of plan like the buildings perfectly. You have to be able to hold R2 the right way, basically, or the right amount of time, and have the analog stick to be able to perform like a full-on circle. Same thing with spinning the other way and then letting go to fly out. It's kind of insane. And again, the weakest part of the most annoying part of that entire thing is I haven't seen, and I don't think it exists, at least right now, that kind of footage in action. That actually goes to the water thing too, right? So you had a lot of people describing that when you go into the water, you kind of get like one last second chance, or you get like one more chance to kind of skid on the water, kind of like surf almost, without going into it, as opposed to obviously 2018. And then you had Aaron flat out say, one of my favorite new traversal additions in Spider-Man 2 is how you can glide across water. You may have heard it discussed in a preview vids yesterday, which we did. Some Insomniac history for you. It's similar to water dashing in Sunset Overdrive, and he plays out the little gif of him doing that, or the Sunset Overdrive of it happening. So things like that. Again, like I really wish we could see that, because it's a lot of explanation using hands. And look, I'm Italian. I love to use my hands as well. But that's what we're getting. We're getting a lot of, well, let's use our fingers to kind of describe how Spider-Man flips. Even like the idea of like the Rubik's Cube, right? When he's falling, like he's solving a Rubik's Cube. A lot of that is through explanation and not necessarily through visuals. But I'm honestly like happy with what we saw. I think that's kind of where I want to end this video. I'm happy because, like I've been saying, I think the core foundation of their web swinging is very good. I think it's fun. I think it's addicting. I think it is momentum based of being able to swing and chain that into a long jump to then swing again. And now with this, with web wings and being able to dive and then glide, I guess, and then to chain that into a swing, or as people were describing with the loop-de-loops, like chaining that, how fast you can get from one area of the map to the next area of the map. I think those were the little improvement. I wouldn't say those are the most gigantic things of all time. Those are one or two mechanics each that they throw in on top of the core foundation they already had. That's what it is. And I think that's exactly what they needed to do, because I think at its core, again, it's addicting, it's fun, it makes you want to do it over and over again. It's great. And all they needed. Now, look, still, it seems like they've missed out on some of the past swinging mechanics. And that's a chance, I guess, to do it in a Venom spin-off game, or, some other, obviously Spider-Man 3, maybe in 4 to 5 years from now. I'm not saying they did everything they needed to do, right? So there's people still upset. I mean, you have every right to still say, hey, I wanted this mechanic and it's not in here. This was in a game 15 years ago. You have every right to say that. I'm not here to stand against that. But for me, I think they've added at least some of the necessary kind of things that people wanted. There's definitely more. I've seen people do checklists of like running on top of vehicles and being able to kind of hold a web while doing it. There's some very kind of specific mechanics that people still want to be included that I think would continue to make it very good. So I hope Insomniac does not brush those things off as whatever, kind of labels you want to put on them. I hope they see those things and say, write that down, write that on a whiteboard, and let's go back to that for the next game, right? We need to incorporate these other mechanics. But so far, I think they've added things, or I guess for this game, I should say, right? I think they've added quite a few things that seem to do the necessary improvements that at least some people maybe would want. Maybe it's enough for some, maybe it's not enough for others, but I think it's probably enough for me. Selfishly, in terms of what I'm expecting going into this game, I think what they've done is enough for me, and I'm very excited too. I'd be excited if there was insanely minimal improvements over 2018, because I really do like the web swinging. I would say if you added like one or two things, I would have been okay or happy with it. Obviously, I think they've gone beyond that. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel. We'll be going over other individual aspects of the preview event that happened. I just want to start with web swinging. We'll go over other things that we saw as well. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next one.